How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be continuing my Sharks of Summer series. Sharks of Summer is a series I do around here where once a week, at least once, during the summer, I take a look at a shark movie. And today, we're going to be taking a look at Raging Sharks from 2005. Although it really should be called Roaring Sharks. If the roaring shark trope is one of the things that gets you, there's a lot of this in that movie. There's a lot of that in this movie. Anyway, this is directed by Danny Lerner. Now, if you guys have followed my shark videos for a while, you may recognize the name Danny Lerner. He directed Shark Zone and Sharks in Venice, as well as producing Shark Attack 2 and 3. So yeah, he's been involved in making a ton of shark movies. So yeah, here's one more of the Danny Lerner films. This movie also stars Corin Nemec, Vanessa Angel, and Corbin Bernsen. And overall, this is a movie that definitely had a lot of potential. Sharks get alien fuel and go crazy and start attacking this underwater research base. That's a pretty wacky and out there concept. I expect tension and excitement. I would expect big over the top moments. And there is some of that. It's just definitely a movie constrained by its budget and put together in kind of a messy way. For example, they're trapped in this station and they're not getting any more air, and they're like, we only have X many minutes until we run out of air. But you don't really feel it. You don't feel the claustrophobia. You don't feel like you're suffocating. Like, the way that they handle the situation, they're like, oh yeah, air's gonna run out. That'll totally suck if we run out of air. And it's not big and epic. Like, you don't get that feeling. It just doesn't feel right. And on top of that, this movie has a pretty bad problem with choppy editing, you know? They do have some original footage of the sharks, it would seem, where they have to bite on a cable or something related to the plot. But, you know, a lot of stock footage, and in order to hide that, you do the choppy editing. So a shark comes, and you might get all these images flashing on screen at once, and it makes artificial tension because it's, ooh, flashing images, exciting. But it makes it really hard to tell what's going on, and there's quite a few scenes where choppy editing is used to mask lack of production, and it makes the movie hard to follow. And it's still a little bit hard to follow because they'll be given some vague objective and they're just running around on this submarine, and to be honest, you kind of forget about the super cool raging sharks because the sharks, they're not tearing down the walls or anything, they're just outside. And unless you get in a scuba suit or a submarine or something and go outside, you're not really gonna even feel like the sharks are constantly against the base wanting to tear it open. And I really wish the sharks played a bigger, scarier part in this movie, and they don't, you know? And this is one that, you know, you're talking about alien jet fuel or whatever it is landing in the ocean and making the sharks crazy. This really did have potential, but it just came out messy and flat. There are still some fun, cheesy moments, and if you guys are fans of shark movies, this will be more B-movie food to keep you going. Don't expect anything too great, but a few fun times here and there. Anyway, in order to analyze this further, let's talk a bit about the plot. I'll be avoiding major spoilers, but going through and talking about some of these plot pieces will let me analyze the movie a little deeper, but again, I'll be avoiding the end. We open up with a battle in outer space and actors dressed like aliens, and as they fight and one of the ship goes down, a canister gets ejected, lands in the oceans of the Earth, crashes through a ship, and sinks to the bottom of the ocean. This is a big, exciting opening, and to be honest, when I saw the spaceship battle, for a minute, I wondered if I put on the wrong DVD. that was pretty crazy. But of course, the alien stuff is limited to the beginning and the end. It's one of the film's most unique elements. It's really not in there too much, but yeah, crazy, crazy opening. We then jump to an underwater research base in the style of Deep Blue Sea. Yeah, several shark movies are underwater research base movies after the success of that movie. And they're down there researching something. To be honest, I just watched this movie not too long ago to do the review. So much of this movie has already fallen out of my head. Maybe they're researching the sharks, I don't know. They're doing important scientific research, but you have the main guy and his wife, and they have a problem. He wants to go to the surface, get a house, and start a family, and she thinks their work is too important and wants to stay under the water. Well, he leaves to go to Boston for some reason, and they're down there at the bottom of the ocean. This is 5 years after the prologue, and now the underwater canister is just starting to break open, and the sharks are going into a rage. Okay, cool setup. The sharks bite the cords that the station needs, so maybe they're more intelligent now. It doesn't really ever come up again if they're more intelligent, but the station is in a tight spot. They need more air. There's like limited communications. They need to be helped. Now, again, as I said, one of the problems with this movie is the sharks. They're not really battering down the doors of the station, and unless you go outside, the sharks really aren't too big of a problem. There's the air thing that I said before that should feel like more tension than it is, but it really, doesn't hammer it home. You don't really feel like they're suffocating. So it could have been a better setup than it is, but it's just the tension isn't delivered properly. Yeah, they feel way, way too calm. They'll stand there, they'll be at their computers, and every now and then they like randomly fight with each other, which I really hate movies that do random burst of yelling in order to create artificial tension, and you do get a few moments of that here. But anyway, they take the guy who's in Boston, who literally feels like he just got there a little bit ago, and they say, you have to go back to base to save your wife. And even though he gets to Boston really quickly, a whole lot of this movie is him going back in this little underwater sub, talking to this general about the plot, theorizing about why the sharks are going crazy. And you also get government safety guy, and he's there going, look, I've been reviewing this incident. You have several bad safety things, and he's trying to sweep this under the rug, get everybody to go home, and just kind of try to pass the fault off, but quietly. And you get the other guy going, permits, regulations, what are we, a nightclub? Which, after the recent Titanic submarine disaster, this ages quite poorly. Yes, if you're going underwater, be safe. But whatever. He's there to be the human jerk element. But anyway, like I said, you have the people actually trapped. You have a long period of this movie on the submarine. You also get useless support ship to pad out the runtime. I mean, it makes sense that they would have a support ship, but most of their plot is just going, what's going on down there? I don't know. And there's this super messy plot element where they're like, what's going on? Let's send a diver. And then it cuts to the people on the sub, and they know everything that's going on. They know about the sharks. And I'm like, wait, what happened to that diver scene? And then we cut back randomly later to the diver going down, getting eaten by sharks, and they're like, what? Sharks? And I'm like, okay, that sequence was edited out of order, right? That makes no sense for them not to know about the sharks at this point, right? Anyway, you want to talk about messy. There's several messy things. Like, the sub finally gets to the underwater base, and the general's like, oh yeah, we actually don't have equipment to dock on the base. Then why did you choose this sub? It's such a weird, lazy plot device to get them to go scuba diving. Another thing that really bugs me is they have a mini sub on the base. They didn't need saving. And it's like, okay, we'll scuba dive over there, then tell them to get in the mini sub. And it's like, why did he even need to show up? If there was an incident, why didn't they just take the mini sub? Of course, they write the mini sub out of the movie later, but so much of this movie, it's like, why are they not just going? Is there something I don't get? You know, maybe amongst this spaghetti mess of dialogue and random plot points, maybe there's some reason, but there's things like, oh, we have to go on this mission in the second other mini sub that we have, and the sharks are going to wreck that mission and will not complete it, but movie's gonna go on anyway, so I guess whatever we were doing there wasn't important. And yeah, it's just messy and confusing, and it's like, why didn't they just immediately leave on the mini sub? It's just, yeah, it is a bit of a mess, you know? It's very much a what are we doing type movie. And like I said, there are some fun shark moments. They're kind of sprinkled around because you have to give the characters a random excuse to go outside. And you know, when you do see the sharks, it does get choppy, which takes away from the fun. They do roar, so it is a cheesy shark movie. Like I said, if you like B shark movies, this will be a good way to get your fix for a while. But it's already, and like I just watched it a bit ago, large chunks of it are already sliding out of my brain and getting forgotten. And overall, it's okay, but it had so much potential. I mean, you open up on aliens of all things. I was hoping for something way better. It's fine for a low-budget B shark movie, and if you want that, you can get it here. Overall, though, it could have been better, you know? Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my shark movies playlist, where you can see me talk about a bunch of other, say, Danny Lerner movies. I have talked about Shark Zone, Sharks in Venice, and Shark Attack 2 and 3, and you can find my reviews for those in this playlist. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.